Women can be attracted to a lot of things: your confidence, your ambition, your presence. But there's one factor that determines whether she can actually trust you: your emotional control. Not the fake calm you perform online, not the forced stoic act, but the real discipline you carry when life tests you. Most men don't lose trust because they're not good enough. They lose it because they let their emotions run the show. They get jealous and spiral. They get insecure and cling. They get triggered and lash out. And the moment a woman sees you break under emotional pressure, something shifts. She stops seeing you as a man she can lean on and starts seeing you as a man she has to manage. Women don't trust unpredictable men. They don't trust men who crack, men who panic, men who need reassurance every time something feels uncomfortable. What she's looking for isn't perfection, it's stability. A man who feels everything but remains grounded. A man who isn't hijacked by ego, fear, or impulse. A man whose decisions come from clarity, not emotional chaos. Because here's the truth: emotional control isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about owning them so they don't own you. And once a woman senses that level of discipline in you, her guard drops, her respect rises, and her trust becomes something no one else can access. Today, we're breaking down why emotional mastery is the foundation of masculine power, and why every woman knows it the moment she meets a man who has it. Emotional stability is the one thing every woman feels before she understands it. It's not something you can fake with confidence quotes or a tough guy attitude. It's something she senses in your presence, in your voice, in the way you respond when things stop going your way. A woman's nervous system is wired to detect instability, not because she's dramatic, not because she's manipulative, but because historically, her survival depended on choosing a man who could stay composed under pressure. Emotional instability in a man has always signaled danger. It means volatility, unpredictability, and a lack of safety. That programming still exists today, just in a different form. When you're emotionally stable, she relaxes, and when she relaxes, her feminine energy activates. Affection, softness, trust, vulnerability, connection. When you're emotionally unstable, she becomes guarded. She starts monitoring your tone, your reactions, your moods. She starts walking on eggshells because she doesn't know which version of you she's getting today. And a woman cannot trust a man she has to manage. The moment she feels like she has to prevent you from spiraling, she closes off emotionally. Not because she doesn't care, but because she cannot open herself to a man who can't hold himself. Emotional stability is your masculine anchor. It's what allows you to stay grounded when she's overwhelmed, calm when she's anxious, clear when emotions are high. Women trust men whose presence brings order, not more chaos. You don't need to be stoic to the point of being cold. You just need to be steady enough that your inner world doesn't explode outward every time you're triggered. When she sees that nothing shakes your center, that you don't collapse in conflict or panic in uncertainty, that's when she decides, this is a man I can trust with my emotions, my vulnerability, and my life. Most men don't lose a woman because of looks, money, or status. They lose her because of emotional reactivity. A woman watches how you handle discomfort. A delayed text, a disagreement, a shift in her tone, a moment of distance. And the moment she sees you react instead of respond, her attraction drops. Not because she's harsh, but because reactivity signals weakness on a primal level. When you become clingy, the second she pulls back, she sees insecurity. When you lash out the moment you feel disrespected, she sees lack of control. When you get jealous over small things, she sees emotional immaturity. When you panic because something didn't go your way, she sees instability. When you argue from emotion instead of clarity, she sees a man who hasn't mastered himself. Reactivity tells her you're not grounded, and a man who isn't grounded cannot be trusted. Emotional reactivity makes her feel like she has to shape her behavior around your triggers, and that instantly shifts you from partner to burden. A woman can't attach to a man she feels she needs to handle. But here's the deeper truth. Reactivity isn't about her. It's about the unresolved parts of you, the parts that fear abandonment, the parts that never felt chosen, the parts that learned love was conditional. So when she acts in a way that touches those wounds, you react, not to her, but to your past. And because of that, she sees your instability as a reflection of your character, not your trauma. You don't get punished for feeling. You get punished for letting feelings become your behavior. A woman loses attraction the moment your emotions start making decisions for you. Because the second you lose control of yourself, she loses trust in what you can provide. Leadership, protection, stability, and direction. Emotional reactivity turns you from a man she respects into a man she must tolerate. And once she tolerates you, the relationship is already dying. A lot of men misunderstand emotional control and swing to the opposite extreme. They become cold, detached, distant, or numb because they think that's what strength looks like. But coldness isn't control. It's avoidance. And women feel the difference immediately. A man who's cold isn't powerful. He's disconnected. He's not steady. He's shut down. He's not composed. He's unavailable. And that doesn't build trust. It creates emotional starvation. Women don't want a man who feels nothing. They want a man who feels deeply but isn't controlled by those feelings. Real emotional control means you can experience frustration, jealousy, disappointment, desire, pressure, and still respond with clarity rather than chaos. Coldness is a wall. Control is awareness. Coldness disconnects you from intimacy. Control allows you to guide it. Coldness pushes her away. Control brings stability that pulls her closer. When you go cold, she senses that you're not calm. You're shut off. You're not confident. You're hiding behind distance. You're not composed. You're avoiding vulnerability. And avoidance is just another form of emotional instability. It tells her you don't have the capacity to handle intensity. You escape it. It tells her you don't know how to communicate. You withdraw. It tells her you don't know how to self-regulate. You disappear into silence. But when a man has true emotional control, he doesn't disappear when things get hard. He stays present, but steady. He listens without becoming defensive. He feels emotion without letting it take over the conversation. He leads without dominating. He speaks with intention, not impulse. That kind of presence builds trust because she sees a man who can handle both her emotions and his own without shutting down or blowing up. Coldness says, "I can't deal with this." Control says, "I can hold this." And that's the difference. One makes her feel alone. The other makes her feel safe. True emotional control is the balance point between intensity and stability. And when a woman feels that balance in you, her guard drops in a way it never will with a man who hides behind emotional distance. Most men take a woman's emotional tests personally, and that's exactly why they fail them. She's not testing you because she wants to control you. She's not testing you because she wants drama. She's testing you because she wants to know who you really are when your ego is touched. when your patience is stretched, when your emotional balance is challenged. A woman's tests are instinct, not manipulation. They come from her biology, her psychology, and her need to feel protected by a man whose presence can handle intensity without breaking. She tests to see if your confidence is real or reactive. She tests to see if your patience is steady or performative. She tests to see if your calm is genuine or just an act that collapses under pressure. She tests to see whether your emotions lead you or whether you lead your emotions. Women test because they know words mean nothing under pressure. Anyone can sound confident when things are easy. Anyone can act composed when nothing is triggering them. Anyone can seem strong when there's no emotional weight in the room. But she wants to see how you respond when something touches your insecurity, your expectations, your pride, or your fear of loss. When she pulls away slightly, she wants to see if you panic or stay grounded. When she gets emotional, she wants to see if you blow up or stay steady. When she challenges you, she wants to see if you collapse or communicate clearly. When she disagrees with you, she wants to see if you can disagree without becoming defensive. These tests aren't about defeating you. They're about revealing you. To her, emotional steadiness is masculine strength in its purest form. Because it signals that you can lead during chaos, regulate during conflict, and remain stable when things are not predictable. When a woman sees that she can't shake you out of your center, her trust in you deepens, her respect grows, her feminine energy softens. She stops guarding herself because she feels protected, not by your dominance, but by your stability. Passing emotional tests isn't about winning. It's about embodying the kind of man whose presence removes fear rather than creates it. A woman doesn't test to break you. She tests to see if you're the man she can safely let herself fall for. Emotional discipline is the final stage of masculine development. Not because it makes you harder, but because it makes you unshakable. When you master your emotions, you stop operating from impulse and start operating from identity. You become a man whose presence carries weight, not because you're loud or dominant, but because you're grounded in a way most men aren't. Emotional discipline turns you into a man who doesn't need to demand respect. It flows to you naturally. You don't chase validation because you already validate yourself. You don't need reassurance from women because you trust your own direction. You don't argue emotionally because you lead with clarity, not chaos. You don't respond out of fear because you've learned how to sit with discomfort instead of reacting to it. And here's what women feel when they're around a man like that. They feel safe because you don't collapse under pressure. They feel seen because you're present instead of reactive. They feel calm because your energy absorbs chaos instead of adding to it. They feel secure because your emotions don't hijack the relationship. They feel respect because a man who leads himself can be trusted to lead anything else. Emotional discipline isn't about being emotionless. It's about choosing your response instead of being ruled by your feelings. It's about being the eye of the storm, not the wind. It's about being a man whose emotional weight stabilizes the environment instead of destabilizing it. When a woman realizes that your internal world is steady even when hers isn't, it creates a level of trust she will not give to weaker men. When she sees that your composure isn't an act but a habit, she respects you in a way she cannot fake. And when she experiences that your emotional leadership raises the standard of the entire relationship, she attaches not through fear or insecurity, but through admiration. You don't need perfect words, perfect timing, or perfect behavior. What you need is emotional discipline, because that is the foundation of masculine power, trust, and connection. And once you embody that, you become the kind of man a woman can follow without hesitation. Because she knows your strength isn't a performance. It's who you are. If there's one truth I want you to take from this video, it's this. Women don't trust the loudest man in the room or the most confident one online. They trust the man who has himself under control. Emotional discipline is the foundation of masculine power. It's what separates the men who get overwhelmed by life from the men who can lead through it. And the moment you stop letting your emotions dictate your actions, you stop losing women, losing opportunities, and losing battles that should have already been yours. When you master your emotional world, you become steady, predictable in the best way. A man whose presence calms the environment instead of adding chaos to it. That's the man people respect. That's the man women trust. And that's the man you're becoming every time you choose awareness over impulse, direction over ego, stability over reactivity. If this video helped you understand yourself, your relationships, or your power on a deeper level, do this for your future self. Like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe. Support the channel so these messages reach more men who need them. Keep building, keep growing. And remember, the world trusts the man who trusts himself first.